Hello there, lovely animation industry podcast listener. Today's chat is going to start a little later because the guest sent me a super amazing, cool, incredibly interesting behind the scenes of the stop motion feature film they were working on. So I'm going to show that video first, and then after that's done, then we'll get into the podcast. So please enjoy.
Hi Terry, this is Samu Mariani from Brazil. We spoke about stop motion the other day. Thank you so much for the chat and for having me at the Animation Industry Podcast. So hopefully you are recognizing me even through my mask, because I'm here right now at Koala Filmes, and I would like to show you some of the sets and some of the stuff that we restored from Bob's Pit since I spoke to Cesar Cabral and he allowed me to do that. So yeah, this is the set of the game that I told you about. I just finished animating, and this is the Arduino board that I told you that I have been working with. So you can do a lot of stuff with it, like automatic camera movement and, you know, controlling stepper motors and everything. So so this is the part where we animate stuff. This is some bits, some of the sets that were originally produced for the short film Dossier Rebordosa that is from Cesar Cabral as well. It went out on 2008, and this is the main hall. Oh, sorry about that. I'm filming horizontally because I think it's going on YouTube, I don't know. So this is the main hall, and this is the poster of Bob's Pit that just came out. I hope you can see it, because I'm not seeing myself right now at the camera. And we are going now to the workshop part of what Koala Film is, and you can fast forward this bit if you want, because it's a long walk. So it was not a long walk, but okay, we're here right now, and we got some of the sets that were used for the Bob's Pit feature film, and this is the bunker that Bob hides for most part of the film, where the fighting happens, and you know, it's just part of the sewers inside the mind of Angeli. And this is the apartment where Angeli stays most part of the film as well. This is the living room, and this is the studio where he works, and he's over there. Someone put him over there just waving at the lamp, but okay. This is the Angeli studio, and so you can see the apartment like from this perspective. I think it's a good way of seeing how the rooms connect to each other and everything. This is the corridor, and here we have the messy room with a lot of stuff, the Rebordosa magazines, the auditorium, and also you can see the elevator where a lot of good stuff happens. I cannot give any spoilers of the film. And this is the gypsy room. I cannot give any more spoilers than that too, but yeah. And if you're watching this, be sure to search for Bob's Pit at your local cinema or your local festival to see if you can, you know, watch it somewhere. Well, I think that's it. If you want to see anything else, please let me know. I think these scenarios will be exposed at a museum that is close to here very soon, in the next 2 months or so, and I think that's it, yeah. And well, thank you so much for the chat again, and if you're watching this, be sure to subscribe to Terry's channel and click the bell button to receive his updates. And well, thank you, and see you next time.
Welcome to the Animation Industry Podcast. My name is Terry, and I would have published this episode yesterday, but I spilled an entire coffee on my laptop and I had to wait overnight for it to dry out, but thankfully everything still works fine. Today I'm chatting with Samu Mariani, a very talented stop-motion animator working in Brazil. Samu and I actually met at the recent Ottawa International Animation Festival, and I asked him to come on the podcast to share what the stop-motion industry is like in Brazil and how he got to work on the stop-motion feature film Bob Spit, We Do Not Like People, as an assistant editor and second AD, and that film actually won the grand prize for feature animation at OAIF. Now, besides Bob Spit, Samu has stop-motion animated on the series Angeli the Killer. Plus, he runs a small animation festival called the Extraordinary Week of Animated Festivals, which is on its 5th edition. Now, before we begin, I have a sponsored message to share with you, and it comes from my friends over at Hue, makers of colorful, affordable USB cameras and animation software for creative teaching, work, and play. Available from HueHD.com and Amazon, the new Hue HD Pro cameras feature 1080p image and video resolution, a built-in microphone, and LED lights. Hue's funky, flexible, plug-and-play cameras are easy to use, and they are compatible with any apps that recognize USB cameras, including Discord, Dragon Frame, OBS, Twitch, Google Meet, Zoom, and many more. Visit HueHD.com for more information and follow @HueCameras on Instagram or Twitter for news, freebies, and giveaways. Now, without further ado, let's jump in. Hi, Samu. How are you?
Hi, Terry. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm really excited to chat, especially because I've never chatted with somebody from Brazil before, especially stop motion in Brazil. And I am super interested for you to just give me all the info about what stop motion is like in Brazil. But first, okay, maybe you can just tell me what you're working on right now, just for some background for people listening.
Yeah, it's absolutely my pleasure. Welcome to Brazil.
Thank you.
I'm working now. I'm going to start working on the Angeli the Killer animation for a game that Koala Films is producing.
Is it stop motion?
Yes, it's a stop motion.
A game.
Yeah, it's hybrid. It's part stop motion and part CG. And we start animating on the next week.
That is incredible. Do you know, I'm just curious, do you know how it was pitched and picked up? Because pitching a stop motion game sounds crazy when you can just do it in CG or 2D.
Yeah, I think I'm not very aware of that because I was not part of the production team, but I was on the team that was elaborating the script for the first idea.
Yeah. And
I knew how to code a bit and make some things in Unity and other engines. And I entered the project with that in mind. But after that, I just slide to animation, stop motion animation, which was what I was really on about. But I think they pitched the idea firstly by saying it will be very simple. It will take 2 or 3 sceneries of stop motion and a few, because it's just a prototype at this point. It's like a demo.
Nice. So you're gonna what is your role on this game?
I was assisting with coding, but now that I slide off, I'm just stop motion animating.
That's amazing. And okay, so I know I feel like your whole life is revolving around stop motion animating Angeli's work. How, as somebody from North America, Canada specifically, I've seen influences of Angeli's work, and I was familiar with the style, but I've never read any of it. So how popular is Angeli in South America or Brazil specifically?
Well, in Brazil specifically, and specifically in São Paulo, which is where I am based, he's very popular, especially in the 80s.
Yeah.
He was chief editor of this magazine. It was called Chiclete com Banana, which translates to banana with gum, like the bubble gum.
Okay.
And it was very famous at the time because it was very disruptive due to the context of dictatorships and everything that happened. It featured a lot of sex, a lot of
like murder.
subversive. Yeah, murder. And other subversive things, you know. and he was very, very famous, and all the magazines that he edited were like all together with his partner was Toninho Mendes, were sold out. Like they didn't stay on the news stands and anything, you know. They were
Wow.
just like they were sold out in a week or on the same day. Like it was crazy how people would read Angeli's comics, and he would like create this tradition of Brazilian cartoonists inside this magazine. So that's why in the film, the Bob Spit film, you see other very famous cartoonists in Brazil, which is Laerte, which is I think she shows up at the middle of the film, something like that. And yeah, that's it. He's very famous. Yeah.
And well, also congratulations on winning Best Feature at the Ottawa Animation Festival. That's incredible. How do you feel about that?
Thank you. That was completely unexpected, but it feels really exciting to know. I feel very excited to know that people could grasp the energy we were having while doing the film. You know, we were really pouring our hearts into it, and I really felt that people could understand it.
Totally.
Even if no one gets the story, or even if you don't get the narrative, you get the feeling of this punk versus pop universe. And yeah.
Well, I mean, I watched it based on your recommendation as we were chatting. And like, you know, that was my major exposure to Angeli's work, and it was really interesting. But also, like, the quality of stop motion. I was telling you before we even just started recording, I was just blown away by like how amazing the stop motion and the cinematography and the camera moves that you did, and like the whole world that was built was huge. Like this post-apocalyptical world, like every detail was looked at. It was amazing. And just to know that like this giant stop motion film was like independently produced in Brazil versus like it wasn't coming from Leica or something like that was just incredible as well. Like I feel like so excited that this happened. And like so I want to chat all about that, but just randomly, you spend like what, 4 years on this film? Does everybody in in Brazil is like, are they all excited that you made this thing because like Angeli is like this very famous figure, and now there's like this like canon piece of film around his life and work? Yeah.
Yeah, no, people are very excited here as well, but we never expected these reception from abroad. Like how are festivals awarding it, I think it is really amazing. And I really like that you appreciate the scenery and the characters and the animation, because it took more than 4 years. I've been into the project 4 years, but I think it started like 9 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Productions, yes, with pre-production and screenwriting. I think and then there were a lot of artists involved along all the process, and the animation was conducted by a very highly skilled team of Brazilian animators. I would love to reference them to you if you want. Most of them are working in Portugal right now, I think.
Okay.
There is a feature film in a company called Sardinha em Lata, who most of them are working on, but I need to be more sure about that.
Yeah. So, okay. So I know that you were like, you were doing a lot of the Moco, like camera movements on the film. Yeah. Can you tell me about how you got involved in that and like some of the crazy solutions you had to come up with?
Yes, of course. So before starting working at Koala, I had this interest in Arduino boards. Do you know what is that? Is the this microchip controlled little board where you can connect things and drivers that can roll motors and everything. So I was really playing with these DIY motion controller systems. And when I got to Koala, they saw that I could deal with them, and they wanted to make a lot of camera movement. So they rented from me like a piece of a printer that I adapted to make a slider.
Oh, wow.
It was a totally DIY slider. So we made some movements in that. Then when they liked the work that I did with this piece of equipment that I created, so we started to creating our own motion control equipment at Koala using these Arduino boards. And
so you like invented it from scratch for them. You're not like you're like professionally built and made like whatever it's called, motion control stuff.
Yeah. Yes, with a small team.
Nice.
My good friend Andre King was one of the responsible for. He was responsible for the 3D and assembling the pieces, and I programmed it and I made it run.
So when you get like this, the director or the storyboards are like, I want to pan in here and then turn to the left, and you're just like figuring that out on the fly.
Yes.
And how do you like? That's amazing.
Yes.
So did you tell me like the most complex shot you ever had to work on, and like just give me a little scope of that?
Yeah. There were a lot of them.
Like every shot.
Yeah, because we use two motion control systems. One was more solid than the other, but I think one of the most difficult ones was right in the beginning of the film. There is the shot of Bob Spit. He steps on a communicator, which are those balls of light that are in this dystopian world, and the camera goes tilting up, and we didn't know if the motors were able to carry the camera with the lenses and everything. So
because it's so heavy.
Yeah, because everything was so heavy, and the animator, who was Rosanna van der Meer, she had to animate this shot and I was always conferring. I was always checking if the camera hasn't fallen yet or anything like that.
Every frame you're like, did it fall yet?
Yeah. I sent her like texts like, Hosanna, is everything okay with the motion control system? And she was like, no, it's fine.
Oh, good. Were you, because you made the system yourself, was it integrated with Dragon Frame? I'm assuming you used Dragon Frame on the, okay. You were like separately doing it.
Yes, Dragon Frame actually has within the scripts that comes with the program a script for Arduino controllers. So you have to change some parameters, and then you can like use it.
Wow, that's
I
have no idea how to do any of that, so I'm just super impressed. So you're like the number one Moco guy in all of Brazil right now.
No, I'm not. No, I work for.
So I'd love to dial it back and just I've never chatted with anybody from Brazil before, and I really don't know what the landscape for like animation and specifically stop motion is like. So like, at what point did you say to yourself like, I want to get into stop motion and make it a career, and I feel confident that I can do this?
Yes. Okay. I think I'll try to keep it short because it started in 2011, like 10 years ago, exactly. When during
to this day.
To this day, yeah. I remember at graduation, we had I studied media studies in Campinas, which is a city on the outskirts of the metropolitan area in São Paulo, and but it's still is in the state of São Paulo. So I studied there, and there was this screenwriting course where we had this special class about animated documentaries from a professor called Jennifer Serra. And she showed us the first short that Koala Filmes made back in 2008 that was like a very successful piece of animated documentary, like, you know. I saw that, and I really thought to myself, like, I really want to do that. I really want to get into animated documentaries and do exactly what Koala Filmes does. I will work for them one day. Wow. And from that day one, just edit out my stuttering, please. Or not, do whatever.
Or whatever. I think it's fine.
Or whatever. Okay, so
from that day forward, you were like...
From that day forward, I need to get in contact with them, and we created this festival in 2015.
Yeah,
and invited Koala Filmes to make a showcase of their work during the festival.
Wait. So you just went to school for media studies.
Yeah.
Which is like, Photoshop, After Effects, is that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it was not very technical though. It was very theoretical at that time.
So in 2011, you see this short film and you're like, I want to work for these people. And then 2015, you started your own animation festival.
Yes, and I invited them.
What happened in those 4 years in between? Like, were you working on your own stuff? Were you working, like, what happened in there?
Yeah, so the course takes like 4 years to you get done with it. So
so you started going to the school in 2011, and then
yes.
Okay, I see. And then you graduated.
No, yes, I started on 2010, but in 2011 I had this special course in animated documentary. But the thing is, I started to study animation with a special course within the university, but it was not part of the media studies program. It was part of the visual studies program. It was called Animation 101. It was with a professor that is very dear to me. His name is Wilson Lazzaretti. He's like my brilliant master, who I like to recur to him for everything. You know, nice. He helped us. He helped me with a lot of stuff in animation, and mainly to learn how to express myself instead of learning the basic techniques and everything. So
wait, what do you mean to express yourself versus techniques? Like, technique would be like squash and stretch, and express yourself.
Yes, yes.
Create something that you feel.
Yes, absolutely. He was not very fond of the 12 animation principles. Disney's.
Like, the Disney's. If you do this, you'll end up making Disney, but that's not real.
Yeah, I think that inspired me during that years to look for different types of animation, and nice. I went totally experimental. And in 2012, I was lucky enough to be selected to a government program that was called Science Without Borders. So I went to Anglia Ruskin University in Cambridge to study film studies. And there I also had a animation class with other of my amazing tutors that I love to referentiate like forever, which was Elizabeth Hobbs. She's a amazing English animator. She focuses primarily on expressing yourself rather than you have to be this technician of, this technical perfect person of animation,
I love that. What gave you this drive to choose animation for all these years? Like, why choose animation? Like, what is it that you feel that you want to pursue this or accomplish with this?
Yeah, that's a complex question.
Oh no.
Let's resume my life in this 5-second answer.
Let's do
No,
it.
no, the thing is, I think I first saw animation, especially stop motion animation, as a way to express myself. That was I know that this will sound like really crazy, but I thought stop motion would be a cheaper way to achieve greater looks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a sense that we didn't have the resources to make a very incredible live action film with noir lights and everything. So we decided to scale it down and make it stop motion. You know?
Yeah. I can't hire 20 people, but I can create tiny people that I don't have to pay.
Yes, and I can spend all my life animating them frame by frame. So I think that was my first insight into it, and my long date partner, which helped me realize that more and more, because I have this partner. Her name is Camila Cater. She's also a very famous. Now she's famous filmmaker, who's in Belgium right now. And wow. I started dating her like back in 2012, 2012. Yeah, I think that was, yeah. And she was showing me how animation can be very expressive, and how could I like express the big worlds we were conveying into this little pieces of frame by frame madness.
Nice. How many, I guess, how big is the animation community in Brazil? Like, you know, you're going to this school, you started this festival, you wanted to work at this company. How big is the animation scene there, specifically in stop motion, I guess?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe it actually is very small. Yeah. I think the animation community in Brazil, especially in stop motion, I think I can pinpoint to you like 3 companies that they're making features right now, and they're making a lot of progress, and they have like series going on, I think. Wow. And they have like short films as well, but that's very
and is it
isolated cases.
Is it for a Brazilian audience, or is it service work for like American audiences or something like that? You know, like some TV shows are like the animation's done in another country. Is that the case there? Or like your film was made in for like a Brazilian audience, obviously, but are these other companies same thing?
What I can say about that as well is that Bob Speed was a really complex experiment in a sense, because it is like for the Brazilian audience, but it's also built in a very complex way in order to reach other audiences as well. You know, like the reference to Western film, the punk versus pop thing, the Elton John thing. By the way, I cannot say that. You have to beat me out on that one. the little pop figures, you know, the little mutants.
I know what
they resemble.
They resemble Elton John, like clearly. Yeah. They've got the glasses.
They do.
I think even it's mentioned in the film once. His name, maybe.
Is it?
I can think. I don't know if it's sacrilege to say that.
Yeah.
But do you know how these films are being funded? Like, is like the government funding homegrown animation stop motion? And that's incredible that you have their grants or whatnot, or like.
Yes, there are grants. Absolutely, there is financial aid behind it, and Bob Speed is only the second stop motion feature ever made, all in stop motion in Brazil. Like the first one was called Worms. I think it's in Portuguese is Minhocas.
Yeah, they're like skateboarding.
Yes.
skateboarding worms. Yeah. And also the
Have you seen
animation in
it?
that is incredible too.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it all the way through, but I've seen a lot of clips of it. I think I mean, like, I've tried to see it. It came out years ago.
Hmm.
Like, do you know when it came out? I feel like it came out like 10 years ago or something.
Yes, yes. I think it was in 2008, but I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure. I know that most of the animators that worked on Minhocas worked on Bob Spit as well.
Nice. So you're not like bringing in animators from, like, for instance, like, in the UK, when there's a production on going on, they'll bring in animators from the US and from like New Zealand and like wherever to animate, like, for instance, like Corpse Bride. But on your
Mhm.
productions, it's like purely Brazilian animators.
Yes, because truth to be told, like the wages, the money is completely low budget projects. Like, and we've been into a very dark period right now. Like, we're really entering dark times because within Bolsonaro, like, we don't have financial aid anymore. We
Hmm.
don't have political incentive. He's dismantling all cinema institutions, and he's persecuting people ideologically. You know, it's just
Hmm.
absolutely crazy. So, uh, and uh, and this way we cannot like produce more features like Bob Speed because there's no grants anymore.
Oh, dang.
And we occasionally we I think the film invited animators from neighboring countries like Argentina, uh, two amazing animators from Cancun Club. I don't know if you know them. One of them was from Cancun Club, and the other one, I think, worked with them sometime. They worked during production,
Hmm.
and I think some Brazilians that now work at the Henry Selick film, The Wind and Wild, that's been produced on Netflix, once worked at Bob Spit as well.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
talking.
Okay. That's
Yeah, so I think there's this quick movement of animators coming back to the country, animating a bit, and then going
and
out.
dispersing again. So
Yes,
how does that make you feel about your chosen career in stop motion? Like, I know you're working on this video game right now, and I'm assuming
yes.
that has like a commercial. It's more like a commercially funded business
Hmm.
thing. But how do you feel, looking at the long-term stability of your career as an animator? How does that? How do you feel that's going to impact you?
Well, I've been thinking about that, and I'm going to answer like this. I think Brazilian independent animation has its ups and downs. Like, on the upside, we have this. I've been seeing more and more complex ideas being conveyed, being created, and people struggling to make them happen without that much of a money. So we can see like this. We can see like these amazing things on screen that were like low budget or anything, and I think that's a positive aspect. But I think on the downside, um, the independent Brazilian animation scenery, because we cannot call it an industry, uh, has a core flaw, which is the lack of a career plan.
Yeah. What you're saying is,
And
when you become too specialized and you want to make more money and everything, these companies,
yes,
they don't have a lot of resources, and they're like, we would prefer to hire somebody fresh who's going to take less money because we
yes,
can't pay you.
instead,
Instead
absolutely,
of instead of hiring people who like can, like, chef's kiss make an animation that's amazing.
yes.
That's really
Instead,
disappointing. So, like, a couple thoughts. Like, are you thinking of like working for less money to be able to work in these situations, or B, are you thinking of creating something, another skill to fall back on in between projects that have funding so that you still have a career? Or C, are you thinking of going like your partner to like Belgium, where there is funding for projects that need specialized people.
Yeah, we have this phenomenon. We call it like the brainscape when
Brain drain.
the brain drain. When the people who get specialized just go abroad to work because there's no money for them here, like the salary is simply not good enough. And actually I've learned a different skill, like the motion controller gig. So I think, yes, because the motion control can be used also in live action. So I can like grab jobs from different companies. I've been working for this company that's called Drive Motion Control as well. I think they're the best motion control company in the state. And I'm getting jobs from them and to operational and to operate the machine. And yes.
Wow, no, that makes a lot of sense. I'm wondering, I feel like maybe the answer is obvious, but what do you think would need to happen to build more of a stop motion or just animation industry in Brazil?
Well, I think one solution would be like we need to get these small companies need to be recognized for what they're doing, for starters. Like,
do you mean like in Brazil or internationally?
In Brazil firstly, and then internationally. Because if you valorize what you have at home, you'll have like people wanting to see because you're proud of it,
Yeah.
Our memory, like, the films that we made in the past, the films that we're making now, I don't know. I think incentives, political incentives, are very important. Like, firstly nationally, then to go abroad. My partner had this film, was called Flash, and she traveled a lot with it within the possibilities of money. And she also asked. There was a government funding that could like aid these filmmakers to travel abroad to festivals and everything. So, and that funding just doesn't exist anymore. So, you know what I mean? So filmmakers now cannot travel to show their work to the public, to the international public, or even inside Brazil, because of course we're living a pandemic, so that's not possible right now. Especially because people are closing borders to Brazilians. They're opening right now, actually, that they're reopening it right now. But we've been through a time like that Brazilians were highly rejected at the frontiers.
Because like, for instance, in North America, the streaming industry has really completely made animation boom. There's Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO, et cetera, which have all want animation. So like now there's tons of series going on, tons of creators. How has that impacted, South American? It doesn't sound like it's impacted you guys at all. Like, are creators in Brazil trying to get their work picked up by these streamers as well, or they're just like, I don't know?
Yes, that's an excellent question, actually, because in the past government, we had like these incentives for the private channels on television. They had to have like 30% of the programming had to be national product.
Yeah, same in Canada.
But so VOD doesn't have that here. They even pay taxes until this day, because legislation has been like trumpeting for like 10 years, like from the time I was interested in animated documentaries, in when I was at grad school. I'm sorry, Terry. I'm a bit nervous.
Oh no, it's
talking about politics and this.
yeah.
Thing.
Sorry, it's fine. But I'm just, I'm maybe I'm being like facetious or just like this is a dumb idea. But like, what is stopping you and like your team of like a ton of animators, a whole if a production was being made in stop motion, for instance, a whole team of people who could like put it together. So what's stopping you guys from like putting together a pitch and being like, part of the pitch is there's a high need in Brazil for Brazilian made animation, and then going to the streaming services and like pitching it to them? Dude, I guess, are people doing that? Am I just being like, this is, I don't know. You tell me, is this stupid?
No, it's not. I think we're trying that actually. But I think the great studios don't pick this kind of projects up because I don't know. I think it seems very risky for them. They prefer the live action ones. But that's a personal point of view, of course. There is a lot of Netflix animation that has been done in Brazil for Brazilians, I think. And this TV show that I just told you about, Jora's Brother, has been bought by Netflix to be screened on, your phone or at the platform.
Yeah, nice.
And I feel that they're looking to it, but I because it's a very uncertain area of expertise, like the VOD platform, or how people will react to, or we don't even know how to tax them. Yeah. People don't try to. I think they're trying to have new shows and create new programs for it, but I think it's not reaching the point where we would like to.
Fair. Yeah. I mean, well, it's obviously an extremely complex thing. It's not just like super simple. Oh, tomorrow we're pitching. Oh, we got like
yes.
Do you think Bob, the film that you just finished up on and won the award, like Bob Spitz, do you think that is going to help change things a little bit? Like, do you see, the widespread viewership, I guess, of this film to like open up new opportunities, maybe?
Well, I think so. I hope so.
Yay!
I kind of hope so because Bob Spitz is, as I said, it was a very complex experiment. Like, if people abroad like that, I think let's go make more crazy stuff and see if it works again.
Tell me about the animation festival you were running.
Okay, so the Extraordinary Week of Animated Festivals is a festival that incorporates other festivals. So,
okay,
we initially, the idea was we tried to have these festivals showcase their work, their curatorship into the Extraordinary Week, so that students would get excited to make their animations and also would know where to put their films on. And that was the base idea for it. But it's been 5 editions since the first one, and we are trying to create a approach to project laboratories as well. So trying to get students to showcase their work in progress work and focusing mainly on processes, because I think that's the good thing about animation, right? When you can share your process with others, not only the final product, which is
so you're creating like a community to showcase your work and learn from others, and hopefully like incubate more talents and build up the industry. I think that's incredible. And you've run it for 5 years. That's insane. That's amazing. So tell me, like, how big is this festival? Like, you mentioned students. Is it mostly just students? Is it like, do you book out a bar? Do you book out an auditorium? Like,
it started as purely as a student festival inside the university. Then we expanded to partnerships with local communities and local institutions that would like to, be our patrons. And it's not a very big festival. It has 5 editions, but I think it's still very small because
When you say you're small, like, are you talking like 100 people? Are you talking like 500 people? Are you talking like 10 people? Like, what do you mean?
I'm talking about 10 people. Like,
Oh, wow. But that's still
yes.
really cool.
Yeah,
Because
we are 10 people interested in animation that eventually get more 10 each,
you said it's like 10 people big, but
Yeah.
I mean, like, from what you've told me, there's not like a very clear path if you want to become an animator. It's not like
Yes.
you go to this school and everybody that goes to school is an animator. They get an internship at a studio, then they start working at a studio. Like, it's very small, and you said even like anarchistic, I guess. Like, you want to get into animation, you do things yourself. So do you think that the people that come to this festival are these I guess maybe the only people that are interested in animation, or is it like...
No. Yeah, no, I think there are, every kind of people are welcome into the extraordinary week of animated festivals. Like, every kind of people, the enthusiasts of animation, the curious ones, and the people that just started drawing yesterday.
Nice. So
everyone.
what is your dream? What is your dream for this festival? Like, obviously it's pandemic right now, but imagine the pandemic goes away and it's the 6th edition. Like, what is your dream that you create with this festival?
Well, I really would like to see a platform where we could share processes freely, and I'm talking about that because mainly in productions you tend to be very secretive, about what you're doing, and people and animators, animators are this kind of people that would like to stay in their caves and don't share, because they need to, of course. I think what I would like to, I really would like the festival to be a kind of relief, for animators, where they can like gather together, they can get together and like share their processes and, maybe work together on something new or anything like that. It's not, I'm not seeing a marketplace in the future, like a place where you sell your stuff, and you put your portfolio over there and just for people to see, but just to hire you or anything. I'm just I'm interested in pure processes, like what you're doing that is new to you, and how you're doing that. And
so for instance, like you would go and present a talk on like what you learned in motion control and share like that to others, and then somebody else would do a talk on like how they they were like, I don't like squash and stretch, but this is how I share from my heart.
Yeah.
I love that you are trying to create a community of like skill and resource sharing to like build up animation in Brazil. That's amazing. That takes like so much determination. I feel so good for you. I really, no, I do. This is like,
you're serious.
Like you said, 10 people show up and there's no established industry. Like you're a forerunner in doing this. Like, you're going to look back one day and be like, I was, this was instrumental to build some industry up in Brazil. Like, there's never been a better time than Samu doing it. I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, you're very optimistic, Terry. I really like that.
Hey, I'm optimistic, but you're doing the actual like nitty gritty work no matter what. Like this is amazing.
Well, thank you.
Like,
that's
I really hope that maybe just publishing this podcast, some other people in Brazil listen to this, or even randomly in the world, and they feel inspired and get in touch with you. And I think that would be incredible. So like,
well, I really hope so. Yeah.
You, me too. I mean, the fact that I'm just talking with you, I feel inspired. Like I'm not running a festival. I'm like, what is the easiest solution? I'm gonna jump on Zoom on like a random weeknight with somebody and just chat about stuff. Like you're actually going and coordinating and getting taught. Like that's really cool. So like,
Yeah.
okay, so say somebody is in Brazil is like listening to this and they're like, I want to get into animation. I think it's really cool. I don't know where to start. I don't know at schools,
Mhm.
but I want to get like a job because this was essentially you. You're like, I want to get hired by this company eventually.
Yes.
What should they do and what should they be prepared to expect in order to get hired?
Well, I think in Brazil, if you're listening to this right now, I think first off you should like research you should pay the studio you want to work for a visit or invite them to showcase their work at your university or at your community, because the studios are small and independent and they like the intention as well.
Oh, that's good to
And
know. So you think,
yeah.
well, like, I'm like 20 years old. I'm going to school. I want to do animation, and I'm like super intimidated to talk to like the couple of studios. You're saying
Yes.
I should just reach out and be like, "Hi, I'm at this school. Can you come and showcase your work?" And you think they'd be like willing and excited to do so?
Yes, I think so. But
That's great.
on that side, but a little footnote to that. I'm a very shy person myself, so I have this stuttering problem, and I'm just tripping on the words and everything. But I still got to do this stuff because I would like to show real interest in the other people's work. Not just
Yeah.
showing my portfolio or at the end of the film saying like, you put a thing at the end of the film, contact me for more amazing FX stuff. No, just talk to me friendly
Yeah.
in a friendly way to just share processes and let's see if we can work together on something, or show me your work to see, so we can see like what we can talk about.
Totally.
Like,
So
I
if
don't
you're listening to this and you don't know where to start, just
know.
get in touch with Samu and just be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I like
And
animation," and he'll lead you.
yeah, I'll try. I'll try my best. But I think one of the most important thing is to be in touch with the festivals
When you say
back
festivals,
in
which
university.
festivals are you talking about specifically?
Yeah, so I'm talking about the festivals that were in partnership with the extraordinary week of animated festivals.
Ah, okay.
Yes, and I'm talking about the Big Bang Club in Argentina, which is an amazing festival that revolves around video games as well. I'm talking about the Stop Motion Hour Fest, also in Argentina. I'm talking about Monstra, which is the Lisbon International Animated Festival. I'm talking about Stop Trick. I don't know if you heard about Stop Trick. Stop Trick is an amazing festival that happens every year in Maribor and Lodz at the Eastern Europe. The eastern part of Europe. I'm talking about, and I'm talking about Brazilian animated festivals as well, like Anima Mundi, which is on pause right now, but I think maybe one day it will return. I'm talking about Animage, which is another festival that happens on the northeast part of Brazil, and many other festivals that they really like the love. So why shouldn't you give them some?
Yeah, this is a great list. Like,
Yeah, no, sorry, I just
no, no,
I
no. This
just
was great. Don't apologize. This was a fantastic list. You know, like if somebody's listening, they're like taking notes. Like, okay, I gotta go to this festival, this festival, this festival. That's great. So, okay, so
yes.
we've chatted about you where you came from. You were at Media Arts. You saw an amazing film, and you're like, I want to do this. And I could just tell you're super driven because you're like, I'm going to start a festival, invite
Yeah.
this studio to come to hire me, and look, here you are. You just finished up work on a amazing feature film that's award winning, and you're working on really cool video game now, and everything you've done is about Angeli's life. You're like,
Yes.
take it away from her.
Yes.
So tell me, like, you're working on this video game now, but like, what's next for you? Like, what's going on?
Well, I'm really trying to finish a short film that I started like 7 years ago. It's a
Wow.
stop motion short film that helped me to understand. It was a great laboratory which helped me to understand a lot of stop motion at that time. It's called Unspeakable, and it was about the social upheaval that was happening at the time. It's a very political short, and I'm really, I really would like to finish it. I'm trying to co-produce it with Portugal right now, and
How does that work?
I've some people in Portugal from a really nice company reached out to my partner due to the last short film that we did together. It was called Flash. It was this anthology short that was about these the lives of 5 women, and there it was also an animated documentary, and they talked about their relation to their own bodies, and it was animated by 5 different animators as well, women animators. It was a 95% women project, which is to me be part of that is really I was really privileged for that, and went all around the world. We got qualified for the Oscars as well, but we didn't make the short list.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, so this Portuguese company just reached out for us to us, and then they asked if we had another project, and I said, well, we have this short film that's been going on for 5 years. No, 6 years. That was last year. Yeah, that was last year. And yeah, it was a project that it's really dear to me. It's really close to my heart because it touched me. It taught me so much. Like in a sense that I didn't know anything about stop motion before that, and I really got my hands on studying and reading stop motion books and simply like looking for references from stop motion animators in the Eastern Europe and UK animators, and of course the US greater studios, and that's it. And
so
I hope
these Portuguese people were like, we want to help fund
yes,
this film. That's amazing. And are they doing that through government grants or like
yes.
Okay. So that's interesting. So like when your strategy to make a film yourself is to partner with another country that has government funding for films, that makes sense. And that's like a big theme in Europe as well. It's like, you get funding, you're like in Italy and you get funding from France and like Portugal and like, I don't know, just all around the world. But so that's interesting that you have like the opportunity to do that too.
Yes. The short that I made with Camila, which she directed, was also within that scope. I mean, it is a co-production with Spain. So,
nice.
So we had a lot of support in, especially during the post-production phase, which I was very much involved because I was the editor of that film. Besides a stop motion animator and this runner of this small festival, I do edits. I work with editing a lot, especially for animation.
Nice. So okay, so like I guess I think it's incredible that you've got this short film going on for 7 years. That's amazing.
Yes.
The energy needed to keep that going. But I guess what you're saying is like kind of the conclusion is if you want to be a stop motion animator in Brazil, you also have to have a number of other skill set. You have, like you, for instance, you have the motion control, you do editing on the side. And then when an opportunity comes up to do stop motion, you're like ready and prepared. And you're also like, you have the short film on the side where you're trying to make that happen too.
I think this situation is changing because the schools of animation are really showing the students what they can do so that they don't need to become like self-made artists, self-made stop motion animators, self-made stop motion filmmakers, that you need to know everything from storyboard to mixing and post-production. But I think that if you wanted to thrive in Brazil right now, you need to be a bit of everything, or at least try to partner with someone who you really have confidence in, and someone who you really trust, and make a good project with this person, or this person, or this people. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
I don't know.
and it also sounds like you have to stay well connected, like with the festival circuits, and know what's going on too, I guess.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
So like, maybe this is a weird question to ask, but does it always, like, I don't know the right way to ask this, but does it feel lonely, or like you have to always kind of be there for yourself to build your career? Like you can't really, just rely on a company to, like, give you a stable career? Like, do you always feel like you're like relying on yourself to make things happen?
That's an amazing question. I think I
Oh,
got
no.
it. No, I think it's
I
a
don't
good
mean it
question,
in a bad
because
way at all. I just mean, like, you sound like a very determined person. Is it like takes so much determination to make this happen?
well, I'm really grateful that you got that from me, because I don't see myself as a determined person. I think I what I try to do is to make way, like in any possible way, to my needs, in a sense that I want to become a stop motion animator. So what should I do? Should I just go into this company and just, get involved in everything that they do? And, and sometimes it certainly feels lonely to be doing that alone.
Yeah.
Like without a I don't know, a proper career plan that someone has, traced a long time ago, or someone to inspire me to make the same things. Because the animation filmmakers in Brazil are really most of them are self-made, in a sense that I always see their path like something that is not something like is really difficult to repeat. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
something
there's no established path. You can't just do exactly
yes,
what they did and end up in the same thing. They're like taking
yes,
advantage of different opportunities, making opportunities for themselves. Luck happens, etc. Do you ever feel
yes.
like, have you ever had a moment where you're like, why am I doing this? This is so tough. Like maybe if, I just went into coding software, it would be easier. Like, have you ever had a moment where you felt really down about this?
Yes, doubt always
Yeah,
happens.
self-doubt. What do you do to keep on, to bring yourself out of that, and to, like, look for and
Well,
make new opportunities for yourself? Because that sounds tough.
yes, but I thought that when I was working during animation production at the series Angeli the Killer, I was really happy to wake up every morning and think like, oh my God, I'm working at a stop motion company. It was exactly what I thought of myself doing like 6 years ago,
Yeah.
like I thought of that, and I wake up and go like 8 o'clock in the morning to this company, do whatever I like, which is animating stop motion, which is one thing that I like a lot. Yeah, so I think that definitely keeps me going.
So it's those moments where you actually get to work on your dream that pull you through and keep you on this path.
And I think by doing that, I'm a step closer to to that animation series that I was thinking when I got into university, like in 2011, 2010.
It sounds like, you're envisioning your career as very in tandem to what the industry looks like in Brazil, and kind of following that. But say you had like unlimited resources and opportunities, what would you want to do or create with that opportunity? Like where does your heart say, like at the end of the day, like what is the thing that you want to do and create?
I love the question because the first thing I would do is finish this short film that it's been it's been 7, 8 years in the making.
Yeah.
I need to get it. And people stop me when I recognize people in the street. They ask me, well, "What about this short you're doing?"
They're like, "Hey, how are you doing? How's your
yeah.
short film?" And you're like,
"Yeah,
"Oh,
how's your short? Yeah,
7 years."
Please don't
say that every day.
Please don't ask me in the next 7 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I would do is invest on my ideas and the ideas of the people that I care the most, and help me to get where I am right now.
Yeah.
And
So when you say invest in that, are you saying you would
yeah,
create?
if I had unlimited resources,
Yeah.
of course I would do that.
But what do you mean, like a feature film, a TV show, like short films? Like you would just help to make other people's dreams also a reality in terms of where they wanted to go?
Yes, of course. I think
That is the most. I ask this question a lot, and nobody has ever said, I would use that opportunity to uplift the other people that would help me. Most people, even how I'm interpreting it is like, I would create the TV show I always wanted to, or I would be a director of a film. I want to cry. That's like so wholesome that you just said that.
No. But listen, yes, I would love to make the TV show that I always wanted to make, but
Yeah.
I think it would, like, seeing the films that are being produced like collectively in Brazil, and with Camila and with other people that I know, I know from work and festivals and everything. I would love to have the opportunity to work together with them to create something even better or even bigger. You understand what I mean? I think most of the people that I know, I would say a very grim thing right now, but sometimes people don't get the energy to carry on with animation, and they choose to go sideways and do another stuff, and mainly because the market's not very stable, and we have these independent companies that they need to be uplifted, and I think most of those people's dreams were based on something like, I would love to make a company and hire all my friends, so we can make a film together. Like, it's how can I explain this? It's like, I don't know. I think you see so much talent being directed sideways.
Yeah.
And you just feel like, well, what if I could get this person to work on an amazing project, because I think there is a lot of intellectual property in Brazil that's being overlooked, and they need to be uplifted. I mean, they need to be in the center of the conversation, I think, and that's why I created the festival as well, to showcase the works of students and to make them know, to make them realize, I know, to make anyone do anything.
No, but to inspire people to,
to
work
work together
further, and if they have that creative feeling inside, to push it out a little bit more by being more connected and inspired. What you just said is absolutely incredible to me, and I absolutely love it. I'm honestly, like, while you're talking, I'm like rethinking things for myself. I think because, like, especially in North America, we have so much animation, and there's so many opportunities. Like in Toronto, there's like, I don't know, probably 20 animation studios alone, and in BC and in the States and LA. And like, I can spend my whole career working in animation in here and just hopping from studio to studio, whatever. And like, I'm pitching shows myself. And like, I've seen a little bit of success with that too. But just hearing you talk about how, there's not a huge community, and it is a little bit more tough, and there's so much intellectual property dispersing into other industries that's not even, it's being overlooked. It's totally different perspective. I'm like really happy that we've chatted, and I've like got to pick your brain on this. I think that's incredible, and I'm hoping that even just talking about this or like publishing this podcast, it helps bring a little bit more attention to that, because there's so many unique stories and creative inspiration and creative minds in different parts of the world, in Brazil, for instance, that will just won't happen because of whatever climate there is. And I think it's almost unfortunate that it's changing as well as more diverse stories are being told by Hollywood and whatever, but most animation and storytelling is exported from North America to the rest of the world, and not homegrown as well. So thank you for sharing that. I don't know if you have any
No worries.
I guess we've chatted about your journey and what you're doing, and some of the complications of animation, and I'm wondering, is there anything else that you wanted to share as we're maybe wrapping up this chat?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Terry, for the attention you gave it to me, because I really appreciate that, and the attention you gave to the film. I think that was amazing. There was an amazing reception, and I really like to chat more, and get to know your work as well, and get to know others people's work. And
oh my gosh, you're just such a nice, genuine guy. I'm like, is there anything else you want to share? And you like use that opportunity to like compliment me.
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
No, this is amazing. I think I think everybody listening should go and figure out how they can watch Bob Spit. I watched it and I was blown away, and I'm so happy that I got to connect with you, because and we connected through Bob Spit specifically, like that. Yeah. I saw that and I was like, I want to bring you on the podcast and chat about your experience. I think that's incredible. And we connected through an animation festival. We would have connected otherwise. Who knows?
Yes.
Never. But like, I'm super happy that we have, and Bob Spit, I can't say enough good things about it. Like, it was, I was blown away when I watched it myself.
That's so nice to hear. That's amazing to hear. Yeah. I hope the film gets good reception everywhere as well.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts as we're wrapping this chat up? For anybody listening from wherever they are, or trying to get into stop motion, or tell their unique story, or short films, or just things that have helped you along the way in your own career.
Well, I would say that if you're listening to this, drink a lot of water. And don't forget to wear your mask when going outside, especially if you're in Brazil. And I don't want to I don't want to make myself seem to be like the selfless person in the world. Like, think about yourself as well, and because it's important to develop your own work, and absolutely don't spend that much time on Instagram, and because it can be very, anxiety can, touch your spine along the way.
Well, those are great final words, especially the Instagram, right? When I'm going to say, like, follow you on Instagram.
Yeah. And follow me.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not completely
Thank you so much for coming on the chat. It's been a pleasure. I'm super glad we got to connect. And I wish you all the best with your short film, finishing that up.
Thank you, Terry. It was my absolutely pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Yeah. And if you're listening and you want to follow Samu's work or get in touch with him, you can do so by checking out his Instagram.
Yes.
Samu Bim.
Just for a bit.
Yeah. Or his website, which is samulab.com. And I'll include both those links in the description of this chat. And thank you so much for listening. That's all for now. Okay, bye. The music for this podcast was composed by Will Farmer and the graphics by Daniel Abensauer. I encourage you to look them up if you enjoyed their work.